You know that face students get when it's working? They're nodding, their eyes light up, they're tracking every word. That's the moment that you know your teaching is landing. But what about this face? Here's the thing. They're not getting it, you're just not teaching it for them yet. And if your course portal shows 0% complete or your Zoom calls are a total ghost town, this may be why. By the end of this video, you'll be able to identify your teaching bias, understand how to support all 5 learning styles, and apply one simple design audit that helps more of your students finish what they started. Let's get it. Let's get right into it. Your learning style is the way that you absorb and process information best. Said simply, it's your favorite way to learn. There are 5. Number 1, auditory. Folks with this learning style learn by hearing. They like to hear people talk, they like discussions, they like stories. Number 2, visual. Visual learners learn by seeing. They're going to love your diagrams, your slides, your whiteboards. Number 3, kinesthetic. These students learn by doing. They like to practice, they like to write, they like to be in movement while they're learning. Number 4, reflective. These folks learn by thinking. Journaling, analysis, moments to pause and simply reflect on what they've just learned. And number 5, reading/writing. These folks, yep, you guessed it, learn by reading, things like PDFs, checklists, written docs, and writing about what they have learned. So, out of these 5, which do you resonate with the most? And if you're finding it hard to choose just one learning style for yourself, that's not a flaw. That's completely normal. In fact, up to 70% of people are multi-modal, which means most of your students don't just learn one way. So if you're designing content that only hits one style, you're missing the grand majority of people. And the truth is, the way that you like to learn is probably how you like to teach. And that's what your teaching bias is. Here's what it might look like. If you're an auditory learner, then you like to talk it out, which means you teach in stories or verbal breakdowns. You probably have a private podcast feed and think that's good enough. Visual bias, you build beautiful slides, you draw beautiful diagrams, you screen share wonderful things. But just talking about graphics isn't going to make it stick for the majority of your people. Kinesthetic bias. If you have a kinesthetic bias, you probably create a lot of fillable worksheets or breakout tasks, but you're usually light or loose on some of the other ways that people like to learn. If you're a reflective bias, then you ask deep questions and you give lots of quiet time to think. Super valuable. But if you have someone who's not a reflective learner in the room, they're going to feel bored to tears. And finally, reading-writing bias. You probably have detailed summaries, lots of notes, and you might have an entire course that's all text, but no actual video. Here's the danger. You unconsciously design everything around your own preference, and that limits how many students can really absorb what you're teaching. Now, let's talk about how to balance it out. Grab the outline for your next module or group session, whatever it is coming up on your calendar, and ask yourself, did I design for at least 2 to 3 learning styles? Could you add a visual? Could you add a reflection prompt? Could you ask them to do something instead of just listening? Here's how you can layer in the support for all 5 styles without overwhelming your content. For your auditory learners, you can record voice notes or include audio recaps. One of my favorite tools for that is Notebook LM, which allows you to upload content and then it AI generates a podcast episode between 2 people. For your kinesthetic learners, you can add some try it now tasks or maybe even some role play, something that allows them to try on the material live. But it's not just about group sessions. You can use AI tools that they can play with. There's lots of AI tools now that allow them to practice even without having a person on the other end. For your reflective learners, you can add some journaling prompts. You can pause and ask them how they're doing if you're on a live session. And for your reading and writing learners, you can always include summaries, checklists, transcripts, anything that takes the content and puts it in written format. And of course, you can always remind them to take notes as you are teaching. Even just hitting 2 or 3 of these will dramatically increase engagement and retention in anything that you're teaching. Now, we build a lot of group coaching programs at Creation. And when we have clients bring us in to revamp their curriculum and client experience, we find that these experts are heavily favoring auditory learning styles because you're talking through challenges inside of the group coaching program. Reflective learning styles, because as the coach, you're asking very thoughtful questions, and kinesthetic learning styles, because people are actively doing the work or sharing on the group coaching calls. That means if someone prefers written notes or visual aids, they often feel left behind or maybe like they're not smart enough when really the delivery just didn't match their style of learning. This especially matters on live calls because when your facilitation leans too hard in one direction, other learners check out silently. Here's some quick fixes. First, you can bring out a whiteboard and draw a visual to demonstrate the concept that you're sharing. Next, you can provide some time for your students to silently write down what they've learned to integrate it deeper. Believe me, they're going to thank you for this. Or you can even send a summary after the call so they have an opportunity to read through the material that you taught. That can even usually be automated. This isn't a huge lift, but it makes a really big difference. So before you film your next video lesson or click record on your next group call, run this quick self check. What's my bias? What's your learning style that you tend to favor? Which learners am I currently leaving out? Those are the learning styles that you don't tend to favor. And how can I support those learning styles without necessarily adding more content? And if you want a shortcut to designing courses that work for all learning styles, then grab my free Course Creators Toolkit. Inside, you'll find practical tools and templates to help you build engaging and results driven programs without the overwhelm. You'll find the link to that right below this video. And of course, if you enjoyed this, then hit subscribe for more tips on how to build powerful learning experiences that truly create transformation and get people results. I'll see you in the next one.